Welcome to Start PT Now podcast. Let you know what's going on in your world, in my world, your guy, my guy, right guy.
It's that time of the week. We're joined again by Regina DiTullio, personal trainer extraordinaire at Aspen Hill Club in Aspen Hill, Maryland. Regina, thank you as always for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, first of all, how you feeling this morning?
Oh, I'm feeling incredible.
Okay.
And you?
Yeah, listen, I'm trying to get some of that energy up and running. Happy 25, and let's get right to it. Based on our last conversation, we learned a few things about the upper body, the triceps, and today I'm really curious about getting my hamstrings, my glutes, my calves going. So I want to pick your brain, tell me some good things I should be doing, and right guy, let's get it going.
Well, starting off, I know we've sort of touched on, at least in the first episode, a little bit about your background, your areas of expertise, and,
Yes.
and they come up, as we get through, different questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to kind of like dial into some of those things. I know, this spans from, weightlifting, you have a background in dance, you do spin instruction. And I was wondering, taking all this into account, how do you tend to integrate all these different disciplines into like working out with clients and creating plans? Do you find yourself recommending certain stretches that you found efficient as a dancer? Do you find yourself, pushing more high intensity routines based on the results you've seen from spinning? Like, how does that break down for you?
I find that now, I've been training over 31 years. I really use my dance background more than ever. I've used it more than ever because it's just everything. They have that saying, dancers turn out better. Meaning, the rotation, because you were talking about the calves, the hips, the feet, the ankles, the hamstrings, it's everything. I would say that I incorporate a lot of dance-like moves in most of my routines. Even in my core class, I teach a total core. We will lie down. We will do standing core. I will give them a really nice warm-up. We'll do a lot of rotations. I have people from all ages, all levels. I have pro athletes and, people that have had hip replacements, knee replacements. So I'm dealing with everything. So I really want to make sure that they're getting the best and they're getting the most care. So I really like to start with their ankles. A lot of people have tight ankles. Loosen them up, do the rotations. And that's something that we had to do during dance warm-ups. Point and flex your toes. I had actually broke both of my legs, not at once, but I have. So I have a lot of, knowledge. Plus I've torn ligaments in my instep. I've done all kind of things, but I like to rotate, in and out. I like to really point and flex. I like to really get that flexion with the foot, really pressing back, really over exaggerating, pointing the toe.
And do you find that like applying some of these dance-based movements like into your training sessions has this been particularly effective, helping improve coordination,
it's been
flexibility?
It has been, everybody needs to work on their flexibility. I find some people are over flexible, like my daughter, she's actually hypermobile. Okay. But then we have the other half that are really tight and stiff that really need to get in there. But all of us every single day really need to stretch.
And is it something that's especially helpful for lessening impact or trying to sort of adjust for potentially high impact activities?
It is good for everything because it's one of the 5 components of physical fitness. Once you're working the body, once you're in there lifting the weights, whether you're walking, running, biking, doing cardio, you have to really lengthen the muscle. After you're contracting it, working it, you really want to lengthen it, stretch it. It has to have the proper stretch.
Now, starting off a workout and you're about to, let's say, stretch your ankles, do you recommend using a band or just using normal body weight?
Sometimes I like to just lie simply for my core class on the back with the legs up. And we'll simply do a point, flex, point, flex. You're getting the inner thighs. If you're lifting your head, you're getting the core. We also do them standing. The same things. We might make circles. We might draw letters. We might do a little rotation. So we're also getting the hip in. We're turning out. So we're really getting our glutes.
Which brings me to a question because some of us are not blessed in that department, let's be honest. But on a serious note, I'm trying to really build up my lower body from the ground up, and the ankles are one, the calves are another. But should I start with glute exercises from the core down, or should I go from the ground up?
I would love to train you. I'd actually love to have you come in and give you a complimentary session, because I would definitely do a full assessment on you, and I would like to see your flexibility as far as squats goes. I'd like to see your injuries. I'd like to give you some special glute exercises on the floor using bands, plates.
Yeah. And if we're talking lower body, really getting that getting those muscles activated and working, and specifically the glutes, because the glutes and the lower body are some that I neglect the most. So if I'm trying to get in the gym and really target those glutes, are there 3 exercises you suggest to start with if you're trying to start a glute routine?
I really like to do squats, and I like to have the bar like on the medius part of my back to really take my time. A lot of people are in a rush, really smooth and steady. I always tell them I want them like they're in a low chair, hip and glutes back. I want them to try to get their knee parallel with their hip. When they come up, they're going to drive through their heels, thrust their hips forward, and squeeze their glutes. And this way you're really getting everything. You're getting your quadriceps, you're getting your hamstrings, you're getting your glutes, and if you're doing it correctly, you will feel it right away.
And along those lines too, what do you think about glute bridges? Because that's something I keep hearing. I've tried myself, but sometimes I have trouble feeling those muscles activate, or maybe it's that mind-muscle connection. I'm not sure if I'm getting the right results from
I
it.
really, really like them, and I'm a fan because, I want to make sure, first of all, you have to make sure that your back is completely flat into the floor. You don't want any space. I tell them you want your shoulders all the way down and back. You can even press your hands down into the floor as you're lying. Then you're going to come up and squeeze, and then you should feel it right away. You really want to think of your hamstrings working as you're pushing through your heels, pushing your hips up to the ceiling, and squeezing your glutes.
So we have one there, squats is a great way to get started. The second one would be glute bridges. And
Yes.
the third one,
Walking lunges. A lot of people
There
are,
it
please, not
is.
today. Please. I tell them we have to. We have to get in at least 2 on the basketball courts up and back. And when they're done, they're like, oh, we're so glad we did this.
Now, what is the benefit for that particular exercise?
There's so many different variations that you can do with it. Sometimes I'll just have them, walk across, leading with the heel, alternating, or they can also tap the back leg. They can lift the knee to activate more core, to really round it. They can also kick. Like sometimes I'll do a little interval with that for, cardio kickboxing. So there's so many things you can do with it. You can also do a little glute lift with it.
Now, do you recommend also doing reverse lunges if you're doing back and forth, or
I do like them, but for the class, I have them kind of stay in place as we're doing a compound move, maybe a shoulder raise or one arm bicep at a time, unilateral movements.
Yeah, and if we're talking about classes, I wanted to bring it back still on the topic of lower body. I know the spinning classes are something that you love doing.
I'm there Tuesday night, but I'm mainly there every day because I teach total body on Monday, Tuesday. Then I have a core class. Then I also have the spinning class. Then I have another core class following that. And then I also do a complete and total strength and flexibility using the TheraBands and the longer bands, as you were saying, for the feet. So sometimes I do put them under my feet, depending. It's almost like you're getting a little foot massage as you're using your upper body strength. You can also do the ankle rotations that way, and then counterclockwise. And then you can also point and flex the toe, working on strength and flexibility together at the same time. You're getting the maximum result.
And I think that's so awesome that you really focus on both those areas, because they do go hand in hand. You
Yes.
can't exercise without the stretching if you're injured, right?
Right,
The stretching
exactly.
helps you get the most out of that exercise. And especially, working in physical therapy, we're always thinking about injuries. We're always trying to prevent them or get people back from an injury. How do you help clients prevent overuse injuries? Like, let's say if they're doing the spinning, for example.
I always tell them to, if something is hurting them, do not do it. If something's bothering, do not do that part. If you feel like you overflexed or you hyperextended, do not do that part today. And then slowly they'll heal to see if it's an acute injury, which then I would recommend them to Jonathan DiTullio, to Dr. Jonathan Stacy,
get them back
and
get
go
them right?
from there. Yeah. Exactly.
And once again, we're joined by Regina, a trainer extraordinaire down at Aspen Hill Club in Aspen Hill, Maryland. And we're going to put up her schedule up and contact information. You're involved in so many different things in the fitness world. It's amazing that you find time to sleep.
I'm also at Rockville Swim. I've been there since 2016.
Well, we're definitely going to put it out there so the great people of Maryland can find you. And while we're talking about all these stretches, is there a recommended time for rest between these exercises, or should I just do them straight through?
I like a little I like a little rest.
What are you talking, 30 seconds?
Unless you're doing like a circuit, then you want to quickly move. And of course, allow water breaks, 8 to 12 ounces before, during, and after classes. I always tell people to drink before they're thirsty, to stay hydrated. Very important.
And since our last episode, we were talking a little bit about, different exercises, stretches, topics, and you had mentioned PNF stretching.
Yes.
And I'm very interested because I've never heard of this. I don't really know what goes into it. Could you break down for someone who doesn't know, what is PNF stretching?
Partner assisted, I really like it a lot, especially if you feel like, it's for everybody. If you're really tight, so you would make a wishbone stretch, and you would face your partner, and your feet would be together, back to get back. You could either hold their arms or their wrists, depending, and they would pull you forward, and then you would pull them back. So you would be getting a really nice stretch all through your upper shoulders, all through the rear deltoids, all through your rhomboids, all through your inner thighs. And then as your partner came back, you're getting a stretch. So it's really heavenly. It's blissful. And I also always give my client stretches right afterwards too, and they're all assisted, and they really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, flexibility is absolutely key to injury prevention. I believe,
it makes
And something I was curious about too, if we're talking stretches, getting warmed up, I remember in sports there was a lot of dynamic stretching. And then of course we see a lot more now, at least getting started before the gym. I think it's a lot more static, or at least that's what I've been falling into outside of sports.
I also do ballistic. I do all of them. I do eccentric. I really like to roll the shoulders back. I really tell them, swing it, get in there, open it up. We're here, rotate back, come forward, reach out your arms, reach up, shoulders down and back, all kind of things. So they're really getting the full rotation of the rotator cuff, neck, traps, everything is very important, even down to our feet. I even have them hold their toes in one of my classes and get really detailed. Really, really detailed.
Now that we're up and running, going to the gym, trying to hit our 25 goals, nutrition is definitely the next step in my evolution. So next time we have you here, I want to pick your brain on some of your diet habits or eating techniques that allow you to be in such tremendous shape.
Absolutely. And I also want to get more into the core, because I know you do a lot of core work, and core is at the core. It's the foundation of your whole body.
You can always tell what someone's eating just by looking at their core. It all starts. That's why people want like the six pack. They want this. Abs are made in the kitchen. They really are.
Well, my kitchen must be closed down right now because I'm trying to get there.
You want bricks for abs? Come to me. I will get you a result. That's what I tell you. You want bricks? I want them. That's what I want.
And we thank Regina DiTullio, personal trainer from Aspen Hill Club, and Rockville as well, for joining us here today, providing this expertise. And be sure to check her out. We'll put her link on screen, Instagram, any further contact. Be sure to reach out to her and see about booking a session, see about getting your fitness right for 2025. She's a great place to get that expertise and that guidance. So thank you again, Regina, so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Well, listen, we can't wait to do it again next week. So tune in as we talk nutrition. Send us your questions, comments, likes, all that good stuff. And for more information, right, guy?
Follow us at Start PT Now and Start PT Now Podcast.